Are you tired of playing Overwatch and not knowing how you can improve? Do you want to set yourself up with a plan that will help you improve for the long term? Well, look no further than my coaching plans available for sale in my Discord server. What you're buying is not just private sessions.
That boy hear me. Oh, what the fuck?
What you are buying is a plan that continues the coaching even after the session. With this plan, you get reviews of your gameplay analysis on my stream, channels to quickly ask me questions and talk with my other students, discounts on future sessions, and much, much more. Link to join my Discord is in the description below. Hope you enjoy the video.
Bro started speaking engine.
Hola, pinche mono, ¿cómo haces banana, güey?
The idea is that it's like, you kind of... Like, the enemy... You haven't really committed yet. Like, you want to wait for an actual clash, like, where Rhines start, like, swinging at each other, both of them. And then for another thing, you would kind of like for at least some sort of angle on it. And not to mention, what you can think about here, too, is, like, your team is, like, all back here. So it's like a nade here that purples people in this area probably won't get followed up on when they can just back up behind the corner and get support, right? And potentially there's going to be damage coming out from here. It's going to be hard to actually follow up on it. So you want to make sure that your nades have like the proper sight lines. So you can also be taking into consideration here like the abilities that the enemy team has. This enemy Reinhardt's shield is like pretty much full. So it's going to be pretty hard for you to, well, no, it's going to be especially hard for you to land a nade here because it's like, well, to follow up on a nade rather, because it's like if you land a nade, maybe the Rhine swings and you happen to catch him, he's still going to have full shield to be able to defend himself, right? Maybe your Rhine like swings at him, but it's like all their teammates are fine. They're behind cover. So it's like you can go for the simpler route of going for, okay, I'm going to break this Rhine shield and then I'm going to go for the nade, or I'm going to wait for the D.Va to use Matrix and then I'm going to go for a nade, or I'm going to wait for Zarya to use bubbles, then I'm going to go for a nade, whatever. You can go for that, but you have to take into consideration that, like, based on where they're holding and based on where your teammates are positioned, just because those things happen doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get follow-up. If this was like the same case, you went for the same nade and let's say purple people, but your Pharah was like up here with your Mercy, or over here probably would be better, right? This would make more sense, right? A nade here would make a lot more sense. It's because there's people who have access to these zones. So it's like you want to make sure that when you throw these nades that people have access to them. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
One eye open when I'm sleeping. One eye.
I was about to say, be careful standing there, but you're good. Yeah, I don't know about that sleep. That sleep is like, I get it, you're trying to like fish for sleeps, but it's like you would be much better off, like, and you knew that the McCree was up there from like right around here. Like you could hear him up there. Not to mention, in general, as Ana, it's really important to be looking at your off angles. A sleep up here would be infinitely more value than it would be on a Rhine down here, where it's like their McCree can just like fire on and like kill people, like even if you do sleep the Rhine and like people start pushing him, you're still gonna get killed from the McCree that's up here. Not to mention that it's like if you did want to go for this sleep, again, this Reinhardt, you can see that he's backing up, right? You can see that he's just backing up with, well, okay, you tried to go for it during this swing. I can live with it. But I would still prefer that you sleep that McCree up top, where it's like, there isn't much follow-up. Like, there isn't follow-up on the McCree, you can't kill him, but it makes killing this easier. So it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, the point is that your sleep is, like, you want to be using it for people who are aggressors, and, like, they're gonna either, one, be able to be followed up on, or two, they're gonna affect your ability to follow up on something else. Right? So, or something in particular. But yeah, that's essentially what it is that you need to be thinking about here. And you jumping out into the open isn't great. You don't really need to be this close, like, at all. I would say, honestly, you can just sit, like, right here if you really wanted to, or you could play back here if you wanted to. This works, too. You don't actually need to be this close. Like, you don't need to be literally in front of your Rhine. This is you just asking to get swung at. And again, like, if you look at these nades, who actually can follow up on this? Like, let's say if you did shoot the Zen, who is it that actually follows up on this? There's nobody who follows up on this. And that's why it's like, again, like, your DPS are back here, which is a bit unfortunate, but you need to be thinking about what it is that's available to you, and that's where things like nades on the Rhine or sleeps on the McCree, so then you could properly focus the Rhine, are much higher value than just throwing nades in the back line and hoping somebody like follows up on it, right? Okay, there we go. Right, and that's the thing. This is why I would say this is an okay sleep. If we look at it, who follows up on this? Can your Rhine follow up on it? No. Can your Zarya follow up on it? No. Can your McCree follow up on it? Probably, yes. Right? Your Pharah's not really there to follow up on it. But the main thing is that you can follow up on it. That's the main thing, right? The Ana's out in the open. If you think you can follow up on this and secure the kill yourself, fuck it, go for it, right? But the key thing is that, like, if she was like behind cover and you just threw like a nade like back here and like she just like on peaks, nobody can follow up on that no matter what. Like, nobody was really going to follow up on this. That's probably not a good nade. But somebody who's out in the open, hell yeah, go for it, right? This is a good nade.
It's not always about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby, let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
I don't know about here. Because, like, you're zoomed in, and you're going to have your back towards the enemy spawn if they come around here. And sure enough, here comes the Doomfist, right? I'm willing to bet you're going to get fucked by him. There we go, right? That's where I would say if you had a better position here, I would say instead of on the RV, I would personally prefer somewhere like here. Somewhere around here, this area. Because then you can move towards like here, you can heal here, you could be healing towards here. You have a lot more options. It's nice, short little angles. And then if you wanted an off angle for a nade, like let's say somewhere in this area, all you have to do is this. And you have your nade. Right? Whereas right here, you're too far up, right? You don't want to be like, where are you even? There. Right? Like, you don't want to be zoomed in with your back towards the spawn, whereas like this prevents that. Even like to an extent being up here, right? Even this works. But do you see how it's like you're not able to like limit what the amount of sight lines you're taking on, right? Where it's like if you fire into here and you're taking cover like here, you still have to deal with that, right? You still have to deal with whatever's going on in this sight line. If you stand like right here and you take on this, you still have to deal with that. If you go up here, you still have to deal with this, right? Like, you can't really manage it. Whereas like here, I can go like this, I can shoot out here. If I want to deal with this sight line, I can swing open, but then I can also quickly swing back, right, to deal with that sight line as well. If not, I can go completely here, and I can go back towards here, and I can deal with this sight line over here, right? So you want to make sure that you have the ability to close sight lines and make it so that you only have one to deal with. Because like at this point, it feels like there's nothing you can do versus the Doomfist, but there's actually quite a bit that you can do versus that Doomfist. And again, like you're peeking out here, but you haven't actually cleared out what's going on here. So it's like you're going to die, right? You keep on walking out into sight lines without actually like looking at what's going on when you peek, right? If we look, you're not actually looking at the top. You're too busy focused on the critical. You can't be focused on the critical if you haven't cleared out the threat. If you don't clear out the threat, not only is that person going to be critical, maybe you get them back up a little bit, but you're going to be critical. You're going to get shit on, like, relatively quickly.